Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kababayan, LA. This is America's first and only daily talk show for and about the Filipinos. And for us Filipinos, or anyone for that matter, you would hope that marriage would last forever. But it doesn't always happen. It's not always the case. There are statistics even showing that there's a 50-50 chance of anyone getting married or a couple getting married to get divorced. And so while we avoid divorce as much as possible, we also need to talk about it. This is very serious, very important, and we need to be armed if faced with a situation. That's what we're going to be talking about today on Kababayan LA. My name is Janelle Sawyer, Kababayan in Los Angeles, and welcoming on our set today our favorite marriage and family therapist, Gail Lafreniere. Hello and welcome to the show once again. And of course, a family lawyer. Every so often you come on the show, Attorney Jesus Silva. Hello and welcome to Kababayan LA.
Thank you, Janelle. It's nice to be here.
I guess the first question is, marriage is supposed to last forever. So can divorce be avoided from the psychological, mental, emotional perspective?
Yes, absolutely. Divorce can be avoided, and it's the same way in making a marriage work or making a relationship work, and you need to work on it, and that's, I think, part of how to avoid it.
And so some people, would you say that some people just give up working on it?
I think so.
What if the relationship's abusive?
Oh, well, that's something that's different.
Mm-hmm.
If it is abusive, then yes, absolutely. I think either you get counseling for the abuser, but it's quite difficult to be in an abusive relationship. So a lot of people, I think, go the route of divorce rather than working on that.
Right. Or if addiction is involved, alcoholism or drug abuse and all that, I guess. But from a legal perspective, Jesus, you've been a family lawyer for how long now?
Over 12, 13 years now.
So you've done a lot of cases.
Hundreds.
Can divorce be avoided?
Well, it is an institution that takes two people. So, I mean, although you're able to control a certain amount and manipulate your spouse, when two people are involved, sometimes it's very difficult to control their behavior. Mm-hmm. And like Gail mentioned, if there are major reasons for getting divorced, like one is being abused or they're hurting, the children are being hurt, then absolutely it might be a time to try to find a happier place and to seek, at least in this country, in California, you don't necessarily need a reason to have a divorce. So everybody's entitled to it, and everybody can institute a divorce, whether or not the other recipient even agrees to it or not. Everybody's entitled and can get one.
So in your 12, 13 years of practice, you've seen couples try to divorce each other but then end up getting back together and working.
Absolutely.
What is a ratio? I mean, what is the percentage?
I wish I had a good number, Janelle, but definitely I've actually divorced people only to find that years later they reconciled and they got back together. Conversely, or in a similar manner, people have filed for petition. We've gone halfway through the divorce and never culminated it because somebody like Gail has intervened to try to help them work through their relationship issues.
Or sometimes too, separation helps, right?
Yes. And anecdotally, I don't have the statistics, of course, but a lot of times people go through the separation, as you're saying, not necessarily divorce, but to just be separated physically and even financially, and then they do get back together because they have had some time to really think about it and to kind of reassess their options.
What are the qualities you think, the dynamics of couples that have gotten back together and of couples that have pursued divorce? Can you tell? Were you able to observe?
One of the things that stands out is respect. Many people will fall out of love or find reasons why they're no longer wanting to stay in this long-term relationship. But if there's respect for the other side, then it makes it much more difficult to make a complete cold separation.
Right. I'd like to add to that as well. Respect comes from emotional maturity. So when adults, we've talked about this before, the basic concept of a marriage are two adults coming together and making a decision to have a life together as adults. And I think once they get to that point, then they're able to look at all their options and actually come up with a decision to either get a divorce or stay married or whatever arrangement they may have.
Okay, we know the word respect, we know how to spell it, we know how to sing it, even thanks to, was that Aretha Franklin?
Yes.
But how is it manifested in a relationship? How do you know if your relationship has respect? When people shout at each other in an argument, when people cuss, curse, call each other names, obviously it's not respect, but are there indicators of respect and non-respect?
Yes, and you know what, I'd like to actually tweak that a little, what you've said. I think that it's anger and conflict are inherent in a relationship. Anger, as you know, is very normal. Everybody gets angry. And you're saying, yes, maybe, when they fight and they start shouting at each other or cussing, that doesn't necessarily mean they're disrespectful. They are showing their emotion.
Okay.
Now, what makes it disrespectful is if the attack becomes personal.
Okay.
So when they're shouting at each other and then putting in personal insults, then that would just mean that that's disrespect.
Okay.
And I think that that's where your emotional maturity comes in, where you know that regardless of the conflict, you're able to resolve it.
Right.
And that's what I think is the key to a successful marriage, or people who are able to come back from a divorce or avoid a divorce, is the ability to see that they can resolve a conflict.
Okay, conflicts. You are exposed to that, conflicts that couples go through. There's financial conflicts, there's infidelity, there's lack of love, no more love, betrayal. We're going to be talking about that when we return on the show. Don't go away.